to go.
Good, good. Great. Good evening and welcome to the September 11th, 2023 meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen. We have just come out of a paperwork session. We'd like to get the meeting started with everyone rising, saying Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a lot of guests here tonight. We want to move that up before we do the review and consents? I think we should, right?
Should we move this up? I recommend we move this up.
Yep.
Before we do, can I just make a motion to add an additional item to the agenda as
Sure.
it was received late? It's from Jason Brennan, Chair of the Conservation Commission, discussion on trail systems on town land.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon,
Second.
second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. So, all right, so we have, like I said, a lot of people here tonight, and yep, and this is kind of a nice thing for the town, and as everyone reflects on what happened on this day about 22 years ago, never forget the people that perished in that awful attack. We're going to bring some light into the room. We have 2 new swearings in for our local police department. So, Chief, would you come on up and bring up the victims?
Yes, sir. Thank you,
How are
Mr.
you?
I would
Chairman.
have thought
How are
that
you?
differently.
Well, sir,
What?
thank you to the members of the board,
Yes.
town administrator, finance director for allowing us this forum this evening to introduce 2 of our newest police officers for the Litchfield Police Department. Both of these individuals have been put through a rigorous process to qualify to join the ranks of the Litchfield Police Department. We're very proud of them and look forward to their continued service with us. I'd like to call forward first Rebecca Frula. Rebecca lives in Londonderry with her husband and her 2 children. She holds a bachelor's degree from Franciscan University in English and theology concentration. She is currently studying for a master's degree in theology and ministry.
Nice.
Joined with her this evening to witness her swearing in is her husband David, 2 daughters, Flannery and Ignatia, her mother Pamela, her father Ted, her brother Sam, her sister-in-law Steph, her sister Abby, and her brother-in-law Maddie. Welcome. If you would wait right here, we'll introduce your second partner here. I'm also pleased to introduce to you Officer Matthew Sweet. Matthew is a Litchfield resident. He lives in Litchfield with his wife and 2 children. He holds a bachelor's degree in Justice Studies in Homeland Security and Terrorism. Has prior law enforcement experience, which started in 2018 as a correctional officer with Hillsborough County, and he has served in a law enforcement capacity in colleges and universities in Massachusetts. He comes to us from Suffolk University in Boston, where he was a police sergeant in charge of investigations. So welcome, Matthew.
Good school.
And he is joined by his wife Brittany, his son Grayson.
Now I know where it is.
There we go.
Nice.
Thank you. His mother Brenda, his father Kevin, friend Michael Davis, friend Susan Davis, and family friends Sharon and Scott Kames. So welcome, Matthew. I would ask Captain Scotty to administer the oath of office.
All right. Moment of truth. Both of you, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Matthew Sweet,
I, Rebecca Frula,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties incumbent
discharge and perform all the duties incumbent
on me as a police officer
on me as police officer
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and laws of the Constitution and laws
of the Constitution and laws
of the state of New Hampshire
of the state of New Hampshire,
and the ordinances of the town of Litchfield. So help me God.
and the ordinances of the town of Litchfield, so help me God.
All right, if you could please introduce to the crowd who's going to be pinning you guys.
My wife, Brittany.
Remember, no blood.
You've done this before. That beard tickle. Yeah, it does. He's already sleeping?
Thank you very much.
Come on, say hello. Come on, say hello.
Thank you.
You're right.
Welcome aboard. Reach out if you need.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Make the rounds.
Thank you.
We're always available if you need anything. I'll stay on your
Really?
Sorry, born and raised there.
I worked there.
Cutie pie, thank you. Thank you.
It's a good town.
Mr. Chairman, thank you
Yep.
again. I'd also,
Send you the pictures.
thank you. I'd
Thank you.
also like to acknowledge that numerous members of the agency, the department were here, including dispatchers and all the sworn officers that aren't working midnights were here this evening, so
Yep,
Thank you.
encouraged by
good
that.
to see him. Yep, this is the good stuff.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes.
We need more of this.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
All right, we'll get out of your hair.
Who brought the cake?
We're going to have cake.
Okay.
Congratulations, family.
Listen, welcome aboard. Thank you. Yep. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Keith,
Bye.
Claire.
I know, huh?
All right,
That's right. You tell 'em.
okay. When we get down to a little business,
Can have a little fun with hair.
we have somebody else? No, we don't have any other swearing-ins, right? Okay, that's the only one.
Very nice.
That was good. That was good stuff.
Yeah, that's very nice.
It's the fun part of the job.
Good to build it back up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so carrying forward, we have the review and approval of consent items. We have an AP manifest for September 5th, 2023, in the amount of $1,149,550.27, and one for September 12th of 2023 in the amount of $81,400.59. We have a PR manifest for September 7th, 2023, in the amount of $51,150.16, and for September 14th, 2023, in the amount of $49,138.83. We have the July 2024 treasurer reconciliation, and we have the junkyard license for Warren Adams, 507A Charles Bancroft Highway. Is there anything that anybody would like removed or want to speak to? Hearing none, we'll accept a motion for the approval.
Make a motion to approve the review and consent items.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Gannon,
I'll second it.
we have a second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. All right. And you've already given us the additional item, which we'll jump on that later. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 PM. All right. Next up, we have the approval of the minutes for August 28th meeting. Anybody have any changes, corrections? No? No, they look good to me. Hearing none, we'll accept a motion for the acceptance or approval of them.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 28th for the
Mhm.
Board of Selectmen meeting.
We have a motion, Ms. Queenan,
Second?
second from Mr. Gannon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I stay.
And one abstention. So motion carries 301. Next up, we have the proposed budget review. Oh, I should mention that Selectman Weber is not with us tonight. He's got a personal commitment. So
Actually, we should do the Hawkers Peddlers application.
is that here too?
Yeah, it's in the middle of proposed budget.
Okay, yeah, all right there. Up next, we have the Hawkers Peddlers application for Wagon Wheels LLC. Ms.
Good
Kenny?
evening. So, we had this application come forward, from Mr. Allen, and he has passed all of the criminal record checks. The police department has signed off on it. Additionally, they have passed all of the state health requirements, and our local health officer has signed off on the application. Wagon Wheels has been operating within Litchfield at many nonprofit events, and they have contributed a portion of their revenue to nonprofits that they have worked with. So it is common for them to work an event and give a portion of their proceeds back to the organization. For that reason, the staff and I would like to ask you to waive the $100 application fee. We feel that their model, and the way that they work with the town and the different organizations within the town is much different than other hawkers, peddlers that come before you. They are actually contributing to the health and the welfare of our local nonprofits as well as the town. And that's why we're asking you to waive the fee. They meet all of the requirements for the hawkers and peddlers, and we see no reason for not approving this request.
I'll make a motion to approve the Hawker and Peddlers application from Wagon Wheels LLC and waive the $100 application fee.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon and a second from Ms. Queenan. Any further discussion? No? I think it's a good move myself. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. You good? No problem. Where are they set up next? I like donuts.
They mentioned that they will be giving us an updated calendar because they have a number of local within Litchfield organizations that have been requesting, and they have put them off to make sure that you approved their application before booking.
Somebody was asking me just the other day where they are.
Yeah.
Are they back?
It's the legality they have to follow.
They've been very respectful of trying to meet our town ordinances. We thank them for that.
Okay. All right. So, that being said, we'll jump into budget. Everyone ready?
Sounds like a plan.
The budget.
Where do you want to start?
So I believe
See some people here.
that Mr. French has left the room
Yep.
for a few minutes.
I see Mr. Blackwell here.
So we can start with code enforcement.
Yeah, let's get
Come on
this.
up.
Do you remember that we have a 7:30 meeting?
Oh,
Ah,
a what?
we start with library, please. I didn't. I am so sorry, Vicky. Thank you.
The library people are so pushy.
That's a director's.
So where are we at? Library?
Library.
Thank
So-
you. Here we are again.
4550-20.
4550.
4550-20. We'll wait for the scroller to scroll.
Down towards the end, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. After Parks and Rec.
I'm getting there. Oh, good thing.
Nope, there it is. Okey dokey, what do we got here?
My computer doesn't like to do this.
2332.
Or it could be this.
Oh, we have a link.
Yes,
Well, then,
What? A link? A
the
loose one?
bud, the budget is linked.
Get out of here.
okay. Let's go right to the highlights, because that's the good stuff.
Budget
right.
summary.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
So
All
we have a
set?
line-
Welcome. What do you got for us?
We're bringing forth a proposed budget for 2024, which currently sits at $332,160. It's an $11,957 increase over last year. We'll go into what that means, but I also want to mention up front that we are going to be discussing some reductions at our meeting tonight, so.
Okay.
The highlights show increases to wages of $4,721, so those are merit increases. Both carrying over from last year and those to come in '24. We have two bigger items on the list. One is under 670 books and media, which is $2,474. Every year there are some increases to all of our digital services, so that is the $474. And then we are asking for $2,000 to put towards another service that we've previously funded through ARPA grant, and that is Hoopla. The other larger item is under 741 equipment purchases. That's $2,599 for a replacement computer with installation.
Yep.
And it also includes a ladder. Everything else.
That's all a computer?
A computer and a ladder, computer with installation. It's 2202, I think.
I asked if it was
And it's
a very,
my computer,
Is it a very
so.
tall computer?
Yes, it extends. It's awesome. It's the latest thing.
One of the mega screens?
Yes. Otherwise, you can see we have an increase under software purchases and licensing, 342 of $451. And that is adding a Quicken account for our trustee treasurer and the MailChimp newsletter platform, which used to be free like so many things, and it's no longer free. Heating oil up slightly, $170. Equipment maintenance contracts up $444, mainly through alarm monitoring, copier costs, and fire system and HVAC maintenance. Trash container is up $362 for their rate increase. We're asking for $375 additional under 613 community programs to go towards the summer reading challenge, as it just keeps growing, the number of children, so.
That's great.
640 custodial supplies, we're looking for another $478 based on our current use. We have a new custodian as of the end of last November, and he is phenomenal. We have things that are being cleaned that haven't been cleaned in years, so he's costing more because he's doing a fantastic job. And then we have one reduction, which is septic tank cleaning, 641. So we do that in odd number years, so we won't need it next year. So it's a reduction of 325.
Right. Anybody have anything?
So what did you say your total increase was over 2023?
11,957.
Yeah, 12119.
Yeah, we've got 12.
Oh, I sent you a new link today.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay, I
So
got
that-
1211, that's why I'm
Okay.
asking the question.
Yeah, so that was, we initially had a 4%, up to a 4% merit increase in the budget. And at our last meeting, the trustees voted to make it up to 3%, so.
So you said 11,000?
11,957.
57, okay, thank you.
I will address that.
Ooh,
Now you know why the phones were going off.
That's, yeah, they're gonna tell us it's thundering. Technology.
does anybody have anything? No. I don't see anything that's not needed, so let me. See what my friends on the budget committee do.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, I'm satisfied with it.
Go.
Okay,
Okay.
Passed the first hurdle.
there we go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I hope the
Enjoy your
stress
next
was
meeting.
not too much for you.
What's that?
Stress was good?
It's just, it was okay.
Be out walking it off tomorrow, right?
I'll be on the path as long as it's not raining.
It never rains here.
All right.
Would we like to take Mr. Brennan,
Mr. Wu?
Mr. Brennan before we go through the rest of the budget?
Sure, why not?
Make our guys who put on the agenda, but he comes in last minute, we give him special treatment.
Put him
We
on.
can make him sit here through the whole budget.
I don't think you should, because you've been up at 3 o'clock in the
Working
morning,
hard.
taping some of this, texting some of this stuff.
Yeah, come on up.
I'll be very brief.
Look at the times of week, which is 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He needs.
What you got?
He doesn't sleep.
I got one. I got one.
I own the piece of land right here.
An extra one?
Is this the one next to you?
Yeah, my sister got that one.
All right, Jason Brennan, 23 Aldrich Street. I'm here as a resident, not as a member of the Conservation Commission. If you remember, a couple of years ago, we came in, there were some people in town, and then we put a volunteer effort into building a trail on a piece of property out near the state forest. If you take a look at the map, just to get oriented, the trail was built on parcel A, which is lot 17-2. That is a piece of property that is owned by the town of Litchfield, it's not owned by the Conservation Commission. There are no conservation restrictions on it. It's strictly a town piece of property, 17-2. To kind of orient yourself, the property B is the state forest, and those properties that are labeled C are also town land, but those are the white lots. Those are the lots that also have a conservation restriction on it. So 17-2 is in control of the Board of Selectmen. That's Lot A. A couple of years ago, we built a trail on there. If you flip to the second page, I got notified by some of the folks in town that do trail maintenance, and they want to do a little maintenance on this trail. If you kind of look at the red line that's squiggly going up and around the lot, so 17-2 is the yellow parcel, and there's that squiggly red line, that's the actual trail. It's pretty jagged, it goes left, right, up, down, and folks that use the trail and people that ride bikes wouldn't mind smoothing it out a little bit. And so what the plan is to do some maintenance and rerouting of the trail so it doesn't look like a stalactite, and smooth it out a little bit where you kind of see the green line, and end up just not using the other parts of the trail anymore. Leaf blow them, let them go back into nature. So in the end, I think the actual trail distance on that piece of property would be less, but it would just be more free flowing versus left, right, up, down. And so there's a group of volunteers that want to do the maintenance on that. And as we had mentioned a couple of years ago, anytime we do maintenance on any trails or any trails that are on properties owned by the town, we would come in and request permission.
Is it possible land adjacent to where the Blackwater Trail goes on to?
Excuse me?
The piece of land that the trail goes on to is not owned by you or the town.
Which one? Yeah.
Boulder Dash? Or is it the first one? Where's it,
My
Kevin?
father's piece.
Which one? That one there, yeah, right?
Hold it down. My sister now is in control of that recently.
Mhm.
So, and we need to clarify that for the future. I'll talk to her, and she'll come in and sit down with you guys, okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Because it's private property. Okay.
Understood.
Ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
So
please.
B, is that owned by the state, you said?
B's the state forest.
Okay, state forest, and they're okay with the trail and everything? Okay, perfect.
B is owned by the state. C, the two Cs are owned by the town. There's conservation restrictions on there. A is owned by the town.
Yeah.
The one below the C is the Lynch property.
Yep.
So I don't remember if it was related to this or not, but I thought a couple of years ago, did somebody come in saying, and it probably wasn't this, but about trails being like little pieces of wood going over streams or something?
Yep.
Didn't somebody complain about something?
Yeah, people had
It might not be
started
on this
going off
property,
the
but-
trails and
Stepping in the
I
water.
thought it was on the state forest property that
It was.
and they closed it off.
Yeah, two things. Number one, a group of volunteers came in here a couple of years ago to redo some of the bridges on one of the trails in front of you folks, and that got approved. The second piece is on the state forest. There's a rogue trail there that the state identified, and they shut that down.
I do remember, that's what that discussion
And there was a debate whether it was a rogue trail or not, a
Right.
big debate.
There's three or
I still
four.
don't think it was a rogue trail, but either here nor there.
So it really was the state that was complaining.
State piece of
I
property.
think that was true back then.
There was 3 or 4 trails out through that was part of the state lot, when they cut the trees out there, and they used to go across those for years. Some of them, things have changed, if you've got a puddle there, it's a big deal. Back in the old days, you washed your tires going through it. I'll just say it like that.
So just my own clarification, the state trail was fixed, so they're not upset with Litchfield anymore?
Nope.
No,
Okay,
All set there.
thank you.
okay. Steve, you got anything?
No issues.
We used to use the state trails with the forestry unit going to a brush fire back there.
Yep.
If there was a mud puddle, the truck was designed to go through it. I will say that kindly.
You're smiling back there.
Doug might remember that.
Doug remembers that. We had 100 acres burning back there one time. Yep.
I think we're all in agreement.
Mr. Data, one of
We
our
don't need a motion for
firefighters
that, do
went
we?
to the
No.
hospital.
We do?
I would.
All right.
Oh, good.
I'll make a motion to approve the modification of the trail on map 17-2 on town property.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Gannon.
One second.
We have a second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 400.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Another item on your list.
Yep.
I don't know.
Someone else is doing that.
Nice job on the fire
Say that
station, by the
now.
way.
Good.
Yeah, it's looking good.
It is looking good.
All good things take time.
Better than I thought.
Oh, come on, it looks better that way.
Okay, let's do code enforcement now. This time for sure. He was hesitant to get up.
Waiting.
You have a budget this year still? Okay, there it is.
All right.
Where did we put him?
All right, Mr. Blackwell,
Everybody got it?
give us some highlights. Yep. Oh, yeah, sorry, 4241-20. Give us some highlights.
Highlights. First item would be printing. We're up a couple $100 on printing. Expecting with the approved subdivisions at Corning Farm and at Olson's Mobile Home Park,
Mhm.
and the pending project out on Dairy Road, that there'll be a significant increase in the number of inspections. So that's basically just inspection reports for printing costs. Dues, license, and subscriptions, software permitting, the permitting software with MyGov subscription has gone up. So that has increased that slightly. Everything else is relatively the same. We're down a little bit on the seminars overall, just based on the certifications.
So overall, you're up $995.
So overall, should be down, yeah.
Which says
On the-
$995 here, up. Is that right?
For the overall?
Yeah.
Well, that would probably be with salary and whatnot,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You're entitled to that, you know.
Well, that part, yes. The other items that, yeah, the items, as far as the other cost items, those are overall down.
Yep.
So,
No, it's a pretty good budget. Anybody? Questions? Kevin, questions? No?
There is costs associated with electronics, especially when you get electronic the building code stuff. That is, I'm a paper guy,
I am too.
okay?
I am
Went
too.
up too.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have a download of the current, and it takes time because the computer wants to download the entire manual every single time, so
Which takes time.
it's quicker to open the book and,
It is. That's why we just got a checkoff sheet.
yes,
I'm dealing with that now, part-time. Not pleased with it.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you're good, man.
We want to go through the
Health
health real quick,
department.
since there's
Yep.
all of,
That would be a tough one, too.
Because we might not get you
Right.
back here. 4411-10.
Yep. It went down. $300.
yeah, the training,
Yeah.
Training?
that should all be taken care of.
Yep.
Which is a one-time thing, so the rest of it is just their dues.
This is 441110?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at.
Anybody got a question on
Nope.
it? It's such a small budget, so.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good night.
Hope this wasn't too stressful.
Oh, it's 3-1, so let's take the fire department next.
I hope you're looking that there's be less calls because it's been so wet. Forestry Division hasn't done anything this year.
Now, did Doug share any of those goodies with you about a week and a half ago, or did he take them all home?
No, you shared them.
the fifth.
He's
I
pleased with it.
actually put them all
Yeah,
next
you
door over
shared.
here.
Good?
Yeah,
Thanks for everything.
I'm a sharer.
I believe that was shit.
Okay, where are we at here? Okay. Give me some highlights and lowlights, please.
All right. So the deputy's gonna start off, because he's helping, he's going to get into the budget with me. So he's gonna go over some of the stuff, and then I'll go over the rest, if that's okay?
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Just from a summary overview, last year's budget was approved at $652,726. This year's proposed budget ask is $703,054. It's an up of $50,328. There's three categories for the numbers. We have cost neutral numbers, which are just carries of zero increase. We have some cost offsets with some numbers in different line items that have gone down, and we have some line items that have gone up. The chief and I had talked about the best way to present it, and we figured we could go, account number by account number, if that was the board's preference.
No, I mean, I think if you give us the additions
Sure.
and/or the subtractions, I mean, that would be good.
Which accounts they are in, what we're
Yeah,
referring to.
we can cover that for sure.
Yeah.
So on the, I'll start with the wages side.
Yep.
So for the wages, just at the top level, the wages increase was $65,027 with a cost offset where we had 110 and 111 accounts go down.
Yep.
So the cost offset was $32,423, which gives us a wages increase ask of $32,604.
Yep.
And then we can go through each of the wage increased line items. 120 for the call fire wages is an up. It's an up of $15,540. That's due to an increase of the average hourly rate for the responders, as well as an anticipated increase in the number of calls. We've been going up by about 50 calls on average over the last few years. We expect that we're going to go up by that. So those two factors have driven us to
We're
a
up,
slight increase.
we're up 64 calls right now from this time last year.
127, which is our training wages, our training line, there's an increase there of 10,497. That increase is due to, we're putting on, not only did the average wages go up, but we've also put on some new members and expect higher attendance as we continue to grow the department back to a full roster. 128. 128 is our weekend coverage. So this was a warrant article that funded us for $24,000 or so that started in April of this year. When you look at the run rate for the full year, it's going to be, and that $24,000 wasn't directly in our budget because it was a warrant article. So it's an increase to our budget by $34,944, because now, after passing the warrant, we've added it to our budget for 2024. 129, which is our fire inspector, went up marginally. It's up $598 due to some increased work that we anticipate he'll be doing with some of the new additions coming into town over the course of the year. 140, which is our overtime wages for our full-time firefighters. We've figured an average, which is about normal. We're up $1,961 on that line item, and that's just due to an approximate 12 hours of overtime for each of our two full-time guys over the course of a month.
Now, with adding more personnel and getting yourself up to full staff, do you anticipate overtime coming down?
I don't. We kind of built that into the projection, because I think it would have been slightly higher. Right now, we depend an awful lot on callbacks, just different nights depending on attendance, and we do have Paul in our on-call rotation at this point.
And basically, I used to go to all the early morning and late night calls, and now that I've left, that's what Paul took over doing.
Yep.
Yeah, we had that awkward time of day where you've got, your folks who are on the department who will, they'll jump in the car and start commuting to work between 5 and 7 is our tough spot.
Yep.
So one of us usually
Yep.
will jump in and cover it if we're around. And Paul by default,
I
because.
just know that's an area that my other hat will be asking you questions on.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
It's always been an off time when you got commuting.
Yep. And last in wages is 149, which is just the training line item for our full-times. our full-time guys. This went up by $1,487. This is really just wages. It's 50 Wednesday nights that we train. It's 3 hours for each of them. It's just math that gets us to the.
One of the things that was cut last year too, by the budget
Yeah,
committee.
I think so, yeah. And actually 140 was the one that hurt us, and we're a little over on that this year. But that's the end of the wages stuff. So just, in summary, right, up in some categories, down in some others. The total net up is 32,604 is the ask for wages. And,
Okay.
I don't know, do you want me to carry
No,
on
I
into the rest?
I can do the rest.
Okay.
So 210, health, which we don't have any really control over, is down 4,047. Dental is down $420. 212, short-term disability is level funded. Long-term disability, 213, is down about $25. There's also a decrease for my own insurance as well of $25. Computer software contracts, 342, is down $502. And that's because there's a couple of features that we no longer need on the department. Our firehouse software, which we were using for all our reporting to the state, we no longer use. We're using a state system that's free to the town, so we save money there. And also, we had a text-to-tone software package that now we get for free through one of our other subscriptions, so that's also a savings of $552. 345, the fire department dispatch service contract. We are working right now, negotiating with the town of Hudson. We haven't had a contract in 10 years. So there's been no increases in fire department dispatch services in over 10 years. So as Kim can probably talk more to it, but right now we're negotiating with them. There will be an increase. And hopefully through some of our negotiations, we've cut down on the how much of an impact that's going to be to the town.
Okay.
So on the dispatch, I think we've worked extremely hard with Hudson to understand it's been a long time since there's been an increase to this contract. The $12 per hour that it was initially budgeted at just isn't realistic. We understand that as much as we hate to see it increase. They have proposed a 4-year, starting at $15 an hour, then to 17, then to 19, then to 21. It would initially bring down this estimate that we've put in here. We'd come out with it increasing from the 8.4 just a little over $2,000 to about 10.5. So we would like to have legal review this contract and then the ambulance contract. And then we will propose to bring those forward to you at your next meeting.
Okay.
But we think Hudson has worked with us, and we've gone back and forth on this a few times, as well as the fire department looking at the contracts in surrounding communities. And we think we've gotten the best deal that we can for the town.
Any questions with that? You guys all set? Okay. So 355, the fire department pre-employment screening, that is a wait, is that an increase, right?
Yep.
Increase of $1,650. We are in,
Glasses?
well, he kind of did it differently when he wrote it out, so I just want to make sure I'm giving the correct information.
They have
Made
extras.
some small notes.
Yeah, so we actually have done really well this year. Over the last 2 to 3 years, we've seen about 12 members of the department leave, either because they were going to a full-time career on another fire department, or because they changed roles from being a call firefighter to a per diem firefighter just filling in shifts. In the last year, we've put on 6 people, and out of the 6 people that we put on, we've had 4 of those people take full-time jobs on other departments as well. So we gained them for a while, we lost them. I'm happy to report that within the last couple of months, we have now just offered jobs to 8 new members. 3 would be per diem roles, and the others would be in town on the on-call department. But in order to do that, we have to do pre-employment screening, because in order for them to take any fire academy classes, they have to have pre-employment firefighter physicals. So that's the reasoning for that increase.
So out of all your men, how many are you lacking? Where are you at, and how many do you feel you should be at?
So ideally, we, for years, we're at 32. The last I counted, not counting these new people coming on, we were down to 22. The other problem that we have is a lot of our guys that we have now, originally when they got on, had other jobs. Now a lot of them are firefighters doing full-time firefighting jobs, and right now, because all the other surrounding departments are in the same pinch we're in, a lot of them are getting mandated for mandatory overtime.
Yeah.
So it's not that we don't have the people, but they don't have the time commitment to give to us right now. So we're hoping by just building up the per diem, we can fill in that void to make sure that we have the proper coverage. So 391 fire department and instructor services, level funded. Our electricity, 410, actually went down $144. And our heating also, well, our heating went up $21. Our water, 412, is level funded. 430, our fire department station maintenance went up $3,050. And some of that is, we had the fire, couple fires this year, Winter Circle and everything. Whenever we have a fire, we have to wash all the fire gear. It has to be drained into separated tanks because it's a biohazard. And we have to have a septic service to pumping out. So unfortunately, we've incurred a negative amount this year over our budget, because I think we've probably pumped the tank 5 times this year.
Yeah, we pumped it again the other day.
So unfortunately, that's a hard thing to play by, depending on what we get for calls, you know, where that number is gonna lie, but normally it's not this high. We've incurred a lot of costs this year.
If you were on town sewer or municipal sewer, you wouldn't have to do this, correct?
Correct. Sure.
The logic here just went by on me. It goes into the river this way. We'll go there.
Fire department dues and subscriptions, that decreased $8,544.
And that's because, that decreased so much because of the hazmat.
Oh, right.
Right.
Right, so under the dues and subscriptions, we belong to the Southeastern New Hampshire Hazardous Materials Group. It originally lived underneath emergency management. It's only something that we're gonna incur a cost on if we actually have a hazmat situation in town. So cost to belong to the group, it's made up of 16 communities around us, because nobody can afford to have everything you need for a hazardous materials incident. Our dues actually went up this year, but another community, Atkinson, had stopped being part of the group about 7 years ago, decided they couldn't afford to do it on their own. So they actually paid the back fees for 7 years of not being in the group, which in turn paid our dues and all the other dues of the other towns for this year. So, so we moved it back to where it belongs in emergency management, and next year, there's a $200 increase to that got paid for this year by the town of Atkinson.
Thank you very much. Great, thank you, Town of Atkinson.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do we have a budget line for emergency management?
We do, we
Yeah.
4290.
Yeah, that's afterwards.
We have that as well, yeah, it's only a couple of lines, though.
Yeah, that one will be easy. And then also we have, under the same dues and subscriptions, we have a New Hampshire State Firemen's Association that we pay an extra policy on for the firefighters, and that was an extra $56 increase. Fire Department General Supplies, 610 was level funded. Everything else is down there. Postage, we asked for another $150 because in the past we've cut out, because we don't really have a lot of postage that we do. But the problem that we have is there's some of our vendors, when we break equipment, they make us pay to ship it back. So we need the money, the postage for shipping things back for repairs.
And usually the stuff is heavier than, letter size stuff.
Right. Fire department equipment, repair maintenance, $630. That was $2,000 more. Right.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, and that's, I'm sorry, and that's because we do annual hose testing and ground testing, and the vendor that we had an increase this year that we absorbed in the budget, but there was a $2,000 increase to what they charge.
That's the vendors, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon there.
Yeah, we use FireCat for that now.
Don't use, Merrimack?
No. This is for hose testing and ladder testing.
Which I've seen them over here doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fire department vehicle fuel is $25.64 decrease. $640 custodial maintenance supplies is a $500 increase. We do our own cleaning. We don't have anybody that does our cleaning. And it's been costing more for supplies this year in order to clean the station. Fire department vehicle repairs and maintenance, $660 is level funded. $670, fire department books and periodicals was a $190 increase, and that was for NFPA, for our subscription service that we use for fire codes. $683, fire department medical supplies, $750 increase. We're doing more calls. More calls cost more for medical supplies, and that's the reason for that increase. And also, we've also seen substantial increases in the price of the medical supplies. Fire department provisions is $692. We asked for 150 more to just kind of bump it up. This is what we use, like when we have the fire on Winter Circle, to feed any of the firefighters from both our town and surrounding towns that come in, and we're there for hours on end. Also, we just did some active shooter training at the high school a couple months ago, so that was to buy provisions for that as well. Fire department, equipment purchases. We're asking for 15,000, and part of that, in that 15,000, is in the 2024, thank you, capital improvements, is the replacement of one of our thermal cameras. We have 3 thermal cameras, one in each engine, and our oldest one is probably over 20 years old. And it's due to be replaced. So that's the increase for that. Then down 810, fire department miles and tolls.
Neutral.
What's that?
Neutral.
Is neutral, yeah. And then 811, fire department seminars and conventions is a $6,160 increase. The budget committee last year cut the money out of that line, which funds some of the trainings that we're going to need for some of the new people that we're putting on. And then also in that as well is my professional development, which is part of the contractual agreement. And I think,
So it looks like it's up before you took the cut last year. It was at 11,900. That line item was like 11,990. And then it got cut by $5,600, which dropped it to the 6,000. We're just asking for that money back. And the increase in the money between the 11,900 and the 12,880 is really less than $1,000. But we have, as the chief mentioned, we have new members coming on that are gonna be required on the call side to get their Fire 1 and Fire 2 certificates. So that's pretty much drives the increase in the ask of the $800 or so.
You got 1260, 1255,
Yeah, something like that, that's
Okay.
right.
and you wanna bring it up 616.
Yeah, we have, we'd like to bring it to 12,550.
Yeah, there it is right there, okay.
Yeah, and just to summarize, on the main budget side, we had a main budget increase of $33,971 in the ask. If you take away the cost offsets, it brings it down to $17,725 on the main budget side. And between that number and the wages number with the offsets brings us to the $50,328 ask, $50,328 ask.
See how that flies. I hate to say it that way.
I wanted somebody else's budget. This one's too hard.
Cemetery is quite simple.
Any
Mr.
questions?
French might switch with you.
Right.
And I will just mention that the chief and I had spent quite a bit of time going from revision 1 to revision presentation this evening. And I don't know, we went from
15% increase to a 7% increase. So we really worked hard because we know how everything is right now to try and come in with a solid budget.
try to be the good municipal citizens.
Excellent taxpayers you are.
Yes.
35,000 of it, or roughly 35,000, is the on-call weekend.
Right.
So it's,
Exactly.
Did you want to do emergency management?
So can you
Oh,
explain,
sure.
speaking of the weekend firefighters, can you explain to me that $10,000 increase in that again, please?
Yeah, oh, good, sorry, chief.
So just the difference because we started in April.
Yep.
So it wasn't a full year.
Yep.
So the $10,000 difference is to give us 12
January
months.
to March, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking there. Emergency management, that's one line, right?
Two.
You wanna do that or ambulance or hydrants?
Before we
You're here
move
for a
on,
while.
the on-call weekenders is, I know years ago, a lot of people supported and wanted it back. Have people taken advantage of that? I'm sure those guys are very
I mean,
busy.
there's always people that are coming in, but there's just a lot of ups to it. I think I had mentioned before, we do about 250 calls on Saturday, Sundays alone.
Okay.
So that we have the coverage that's there. It's helped with mutual aid when we've got mutual aid. It's a benefit for somebody that wants to come in and get a fire permit. We've given tours of the fire station. So there's a lot of pluses to having it.
Yeah, we had a lot of community members that'll be walking their dogs, they'll walk by, they'll come over, they'll bring their kids over to say hello, see the trucks. We'll show them the
All public
station.
relations.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I think it's
So,
good.
yeah, I think it's been pretty well received by both the firefighters and the community.
I think it was long overdue
Yeah.
myself.
Thank you.
Okay.
The ambulance, that's just a set contract, correct?
No, we're doing emergency management, right?
We asked which one you want
We'll
next?
do
Emergency
it.
management, 4290-10.
Okay, I'll do that one first.
Oh, thank you.
When you sit behind the gavel, you can call the numbers.
I'm just asking questions. Rat.
Wait a minute.
I'm not leaving this.
You got it, Kim?
Oh, okay. Now I think I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So the only difference to the emergency management is, like I had mentioned earlier, is we moved the hazmat district funding from the fire budget back over to emergency management. That was in $9,400.
Yep.
And then the only other thing that we were asking for is to reinstate, we had $1,500 before for equipment purchases. Should something happen in town, especially now with the weather, and we need to rent a generator, or rent something that we don't have the funding for it. But the other thing is, we've talked about, and I'm in the process of looking into starting a CERT team, a Citizens Emergency Response Team, and that would need money in order to, even though it's a volunteer group, in order to get them vests, training, and whatnot.
Yep.
And that's emergency management.
Get the generators running.
Okay, any questions? No. It's pretty straightforward.
Done.
Okay. What do you want to do next?
Ask me.
Oh, we got ambulance and hydrants.
Well, hydrants I can't speak to because I haven't seen anything on that. You want to speak to hydrants, Kim?
Can we
So-
reduce it completely by getting rid of
Get
it?
rid of them?
Unfortunately not. So, the hydrants is actually up for two different reasons. One, it's based on rates that are set
By the PUC.
by the PUC, and it's an increase in the QPAC, which they've had a couple of revisions to their rates. So that information we get right from Pennachuck. That does not mean that we will not see that adjusted during the year, but you go off of the best information that you have at the moment. And that's unfortunately what we have. There have been a few changes in the number of hydrants. So there's been an increase in the number of hydrants, which also is reflected in that number.
And with the new projects, they're gonna get some more.
Yes. The major increase was the 2023 rate change
Oh, yeah.
came in at 1.75%, which adjusted us for the remainder of 2023. Then they averaged that in, and they're looking at a 6.32 for 2024 at the moment. But we expect more, and it will be adjusted again at the end, or about this time next year. So you take an average.
It all depends on how far the hydrants are apart regarding rules. 1,000 feet was what we asked for. I don't know why we got out there.
They're all,
Well, they've
they're all
been
different numbers
reviewing
depending
it.
on where you are. Anywhere from 600 feet to over 1,000 feet.
Yeah, 1,000 feet makes sense with what you carry for hose. That's what I say all the time. Okay, 'cause if they're closer, you're not in the city. We gotta use the hose.
We did, when they were doing Corning Farms, we had them remove, I believe it was either 3 or 4 hydrants
Good.
because we felt we had adequate coverage with what we had there.
You had up the street right there, you had everything you need to get down to it.
Yeah.
Good.
So Manchester charges us $185 a quarter, and it looks like Pennachuck charges us $430 a quarter per hydrant. That's highway robbery.
Do we get charged for water going through it? Like next year, if we have a drought, can we water everybody's lawns? Open up some faucets?
You cannot compare Manchester water rates
No,
to,
No, you can't.
to Pennachuck East.
No way.
Totally.
Explain that to the taxpayers. Because we hear it every single year. And I agree with them.
Manchester is owned
I
by Manchester.
That's right. It's a municipal water source.
Pennachuck is not.
They're owned by
Correct.
Nashua.
It's a money, no.
No?
Actually,
East.
Pennachuck is its own corporation.
Correct.
Pennachuck is a profitable corporation like any other corporation.
It was owned many years ago, but they changed.
Nashua is a major stockholder.
Right.
But it does not.
Does not own it.
Doesn't change the number.
They can't.
I don't care who owns it, we're getting raked over the
Yeah.
coals.
And we don't use them enough.
Well, on that note, I will just gladly say that September 25th, I will be doing an initial review of the water study.
Nice.
And we will put it together and hopefully be at your first meeting in October.
All
So,
good things.
we'll end that conversation on a good note,
Thank you.
Thank you.
which is looking very
Ray of
good.
sunshine you are.
Yeah, I need one.
A lot of offset money sitting right there.
Oh, right? Okay. Okay,
Okay, I have no problem with hydrants.
Okay.
You guys have any problem with them? They all work?
They all work so far.
Okay, good,
So far,
good,
so
good.
good.
so what's next? Ambulance? Is
Ambulance.
that you guys too? Or no?
Yeah.
Yes, no,
Well-
yes, no?
It's us, really.
All of
You,
us.
you through her?
We've worked really hard on this, and again, thank you.
4215 for everyone keeping score.
Thank you to Hudson for
They're working.
working with us. You know, it's amazing. I look at the number of calls that we've had, and they've gone up. What, you know, what I think is really been difficult is the ambulance contract, like the others, hasn't increased, like dispatch hasn't increased for a number of years. It was based on a formula that was a percentage of the costs of their budget plus capital expense, which is new ambulance purchases. So our rate fluctuated based upon the cost of the ambulance service overall to the town of Hudson. And it was also based on the percentage of total calls that were Litchfields, so.
Per quarter.
Per quarter.
Quarter.
Yes. So initially, the town of Hudson came forward, wanted to make an increase because their budget had increased, their personnel costs had increased. They wanted our contract to increase about $28,000 a year. Through working through some costs and looking at what their true personnel costs are, taking into consideration they did, you know, work on some capital expense with a new ambulance. We've adjusted it with them to come down to about an $18,000 cost, which would make it a fixed rate so that we're not looking at the percentage that their budget would be increasing each year. We'd be looking at having a straight $175 per call. Now, the estimated increases of 18.2 is taking into consideration our last year, July 1 through June 30 calls. So if the calls went up, it would be a little bit more than that, but that would be our estimate. increase would be 18.2 instead of roughly 28.
I'm not surprised, because the first aid calls always run fast. There's
And-
always more of them.
And it's difficult because their costs have increased
Yep.
greatly. So we need to understand that Litchfield's gonna pay for its portion of that.
Look at the overall budget number, it's still cheaper than having an ambulance here.
Mhm.
I mean, I look at it, it's still cheaper than having your own meat wagon, excuse me.
Oh, you couldn't touch having your own service for anywhere near this.
That's right.
And the fire department did, some investigation, talking to others, and, I think it was important to us that we allowed the option in a couple of years to see. So Hudson did write that into the contract, keeping that out clause in a couple of years, should things change. But overall, it's a good contract. They have also agreed to help assist us with the unpaid ambulance bills and getting us as much information as they possibly can about these individuals. I think you're still going to have some that you just cannot collect
It's
for.
inevitable.
But every other town, and I've talked to a lot of other town administrators, they all,
Same
if they
problem.
have an outside ambulance, they all face the same dilemma.
That is, you can't, no.
It's just the cost of doing
Just
business.
the cost, yeah, it is, no matter how you look at it. And you got so many people that you may charge them a bill, but they got nothing that it can come from. They don't have anything where they are in the first place, okay?
So we didn't make the adjustment into the budget yet because honestly, we had sent the contract back to Hudson last Monday and they just sent it to us.
Friday.
Right, so we're gonna put it together, have legal review it, bring it to your next meeting, but that 64 number,
Just,
Yep.
will go up about 18.2.
okay. There's no way around, in my opinion, there's no way around, Bob. As you hate to say this, there's no way around.
What?
Ambulance
Oh,
calls.
no, I know that.
In the old days, we threw them in the back of a pickup truck and went for a ride. Okay?
Let's not do that.
And they didn't put pillows in there to make it a soft ride, I must say that.
Or it's gonna go up about 45 fire hydrants. Bigger fish to fry than that.
Get that right.
And, Hudson has,
They did well.
They've always been good to us.
they've been good, and where they haven't increased it for a number of years, they were very good in
Very good.
walking through this with us.
And Hudson, in Londonderry does work with us as well. Okay, if Hudson can't come out here, because they're tied up with all of them, we have a backup that comes down, and it's really great,
Yep.
okay?
100%.
It's all downhill for them.
All right, very good. Is there anything else we need these gentlemen for? Do they have anything else?
No, I think Mr. French
Is
wants
that
to come
it?
up.
No, you have so many, so.
Got that guy in the back smiling all the time.
Well, thank you
No, we
very
thank you,
much.
man. We do,
Thank-
we
thank-
thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You guys have a great night.
Nancy, that white shirt thing has worried me.
You and I both.
That's what I thought.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
I never thought he'd be wearing a white suit. I see your support staff chief is really here.
Everybody has left you. They hung around for cookies and
Yeah, there's probably no cake left either.
Yeah.
Probably not.
that's not a good way to start your presentation.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, advertising and registration, never mind. Okay.
Police. And here we go. What are we under in police here? Oh, right there. 4210-50. No, 4210. 10.
4210.
50 is next.
Right.
Okay.
So before I get into the particulars, just a quick little statement about how we put this budget together and what the department has gone through in 2023 and some of the things that they've had to respond to. As you know, 2023 was a extremely tough year for the department and the community. We've had several personnel changes that have impacted morale, scheduling, coverage, and our ability to be proactive in the community.
Yep.
We do have dedicated members of the department that have been doing an excellent job responding to calls for service and protecting the community during that time period, and they are committed to continuing that. The 2024 budget proposal that we're putting forth is designed to continue the allocated staffing, be responsive to community needs, and stay up to date with equipment and training to protect our employees and the citizens while reducing liability and risks wherever possible. The department is seeing an increase in cases involving citizens in mental health crisis, domestic violence, and persons actively armed with deadly weapons. Recent incidents involving a person armed with a machete and another armed with a firearm and actively firing a gun in a residential neighborhood demonstrate the dangerousness of these situations officers face every day. Both situations were resolved by the officers without serious injury, which is a true credit to the officers that responded. Tonight's budget presentation talks about police administration and police support, and I am prepared to go through the highlights, which seems to be the format.
Yep.
So,
Give us the good stuff.
well, I'll give you as much of good stuff as I can. A lot of the budget, a good percentage of the budget is personnel related. We are allocated a certain number of sworn police officers as well as civilian support staff. The PD officers line 111, the changes there are reflected regarding the current contract. We use the rate that is currently in effect for a 12-month time period in putting forth that figure. The administrative assistant is a small increase based on anticipated adjustments in COLA. Special officers, otherwise known as part-time officers, we took a real close look at the averages of those officers and the number of hours that they are working, or the number of hours that we hope they could work to supplement the regular full-time officers. Based on that analysis and review, we determined that there needs to be an increase there to support their work, and it appears to be a sizable increase, but it is reflective of what we believe is going to be what those part-time officers can bring to the department. Currently, there are 3. One is part-time regular, and the 2 others are fill-ins as needed. With any luck, we'll have an additional one to put on that can offset some of that extra work. Overtime for officers. This is another area where we really had to take a hard, close look at what was going on in 2023 with all of the vacancies, but we didn't have a lot of data for 2022 and 2021 to compare it to. The numbers that we put forth here are reflective of what has been happening in 2023. It is a sizable increase. It pertains to sergeant overtime, corporal overtime, and master patrol officer overtime, and regular patrol officer overtime. The numbers, again, are reflective of the vacancies we've had this year. It's our best estimate if we were to continue in that vein, but we're encouraged with the 2 new officers that we swore in tonight. So we believe we're moving in a positive direction.
Very nice.
What's that?
Yeah. Listen, so as I indicated in my memo to you, that I sent last week, Mr. French and I looked over these numbers again with the changes in personnel that have occurred. Because it's after the budget has been proposed, we wanted to give you those numbers separately so that you could propose those changes and ask questions about them. We believe that the MPO line will need to be increased. It's now specified as 1, it'll be 2. But we believe the sergeant and the corporal line items can come down. So overall, it would be a decrease of about 47,000 off of that,
Number you have here.
the 190.
190, what it is, okay.
So I indicated those in that memo's up above your budget if you're on the portal. I think it was very difficult, especially as a department is changing and you're trying to estimate your numbers going forward, and how schedules will look to really pinpoint where the overtime is going to occur. So I think taking another look at this, even a month later, was a great exercise to do. So it's up to the board, but we would be comfortable if it was reduced on a couple of line items and then increased on the MPO line.
That's a change.
So unless there's questions, continue on, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so PD overtime training. You are seeing a slight increase there. That line covers the mandatory required training to maintain certification. It also covers training for individuals in skill sets to reduce risk, enhance their performance. It also includes backfill for officers that are going away to training. As you know, the LEAC Commission came up with some additional requirements for training through the state of New Hampshire. This line will address those topics as well. Things like ethics and bias-based policing. And the line also covers our officer that is a member of the Special Operations Unit team and required training on a monthly basis. The next line that we've identified a little bit of an adjustment for is the reduction of $500 in the PD uniform allowance cleaning, and we're recommending that adjustment just based on past history. Community details. Community detail is an area where we took a look at past performance and past requirements of of coverage. Also, looking at what we know we are potentially facing for 2024 as it relates to additional needs for community detail. For example, there's 4 elections in 2024 as opposed to the customary 2. There's at least 1 additional parade proposed, could be more. Plus the schools are continuing with their coverages for football games, basketball games, dances, and things of that nature. Need to be clear that this does not cover the customary road details like Eversource and the tree companies and
They
stuff
pay for
like that.
that, right?
They pay that separately, independently. We bill them, and they pay the rate that the selectmen have established.
Events like Spooky World, same thing, right?
Yes, Spooky World is same thing. Anything that's outside of what the town is
Private events.
sponsoring,
Private stuff.
private stuff.
Okay, thank you.
PD software support, I'm skipping over the insurance ones because I don't think we have actual finalized numbers there, but. So down to PD software support, there is an increase there. The increase is related to the records management system software maintenance agreement. That's commonly known as IMC, as well as the addition of a maintenance agreement for the fingerprint live scan machine that was not in last year's budget. That's a device we got via a grant. The first year maintenance was part of the grant. Then 2023 we missed it, so we have to catch up here. Child Advocacy Center, that is a slight increase as well. That's actually reflective of what they traditionally would expect from the town of Litchfield. Last year we under budgeted for that. That is a great service, and we average about 15 cases a year through that child advocacy service. Pre-employment screening also reflects about a $2,000 increase. That is the area where we are doing the psychological testing, polygraphs, physicals, drug tests, and all of that for new officers. And we do that for officers that are brand new, don't have any experience, as well as officers that come from other organizations, because you want to be consistent all the way through. Equipment maintenance and repair has a slight increase. That's just based on our experience history with making repairs to radars, radio equipment, and a little bit of photocopier. PD vehicle repairs and maintenance. We are recommending a $2,500 increase in that area. That as well is based on our experience with the current fleet. Breakdowns, tires, there are a number of things that are starting to go wrong with them. So to take that into account and recognizing that it is an aging fleet, we believe we need that addition there. Books and periodicals, we are recommending a slight increase there, slight decrease there, I'm sorry. A lot of stuff's getting online now, and we're taking advantage of that. Uniforms and accessories, the increase reflective there is essentially with the new hires, as well as the need to replace additional bullet-resistant vests. Those vests are on a schedule. They have a shelf life of about 5 years. We try and stay right to that schedule. That's a piece of equipment that
that you don't fool around with. And they're about $950 a year, or a piece. Equipment purchase, that is a reduction of $41.43, and that is reflective of the, we don't need new radars this year. So those are, we purchased them last year, so we took those out. PD cruiser purchase.
Almost time, ain't it?
We didn't get any new cruisers last year. The last new cruiser, replacement cruiser we got was in 2021. It didn't essentially hit service until mid-2022. And that was just one car, as we are clearly out of our traditional replacement schedule. To attempt to get back to that replacement schedule, we are recommending 2 patrol vehicle replacements and a 4x4 pickup truck with a cap, similar to what the fire department has as a command vehicle for the supervisors, plus the ability to carry extra equipment to be more efficient, and potentially carry a animal control snatch pole. The current vehicles don't allow for any of that equipment to be carried in that fashion. The having a supervisor vehicle will allow for specialized equipment to be on the street, as opposed to being inside the building, having to come back and pick it up and take it back out there to crime scenes. Specialized camera equipment is an example. And a command vehicle for active scenes is something that would clearly be of use to us. And that became evident this past summer with that incident with the active firearms going on. Based on upfitting, based on what we believe are going to be state bids, and in an attempt to use some of the equipment that we would be able to take away from other cars, plus an amount to decommission any cars we take out of service. We haven't budgeted for that type of activity in the past. We estimate that at $198,000 for 3 vehicles.
The decommission?
And what's that?
Replacement.
They're all replacements.
Okay, not just decommission, okay, good.
Right.
I was thinking decommission, $108,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. No, these are replacement vehicles.
Okay, good.
And lastly, under police administration, PDs, seminars, and conventions, we are recommending a reduction of $4,000 in that line, and that is based on our history over the past couple of years. And that's one where there are certain things that people should attend, and then there are some others that you can get that training in a different fashion.
It looks like your increases is really due to vehicle and salaries.
Yes, sir.
MOT.
Yep.
I'm seeing.
Those are the 2 big ones.
Yep.
Which I'm not surprised on the salary.
Yeah, especially the overtime,
The
because
world
it's
around
just so
us.
short.
Okay. Vehicles, we didn't miss the year, we're behind too. I'm not surprised to see that come in. Well,
Warrant articles for the police vehicles.
It's always,
So I think typically you have included them in your budget.
They've always been in the budget, yeah.
Yeah.
My concern is that with the tax cap,
you may have to
it's a
pull.
line that the budget committee is forced to reduce. There's just.
It's an easy target for them.
It is. It's too costly to fit under the cap, considering all the other contractual increases. And one thing you'll consistently see throughout all these budgets is there's really no new asks, right?
Nothing.
They're all contractual increases. So they're forced to go to line items like this. One thing that has been a little successful, at least as far as highways, gotten a vehicle out of the
Grants.
highway fund. So perhaps looking at another way to put aside money for these vehicles year after year after year might be a better way to go to make sure that the funds are not set aside.
Presently, highway has a state fund thing going on where they can tap into.
Yes, so
Okay,
we are writing
but
a grant.
police
You
don't
don't
have
see
that.
those for police
You don't
vehicles.
see the police or fire.
No, it's a cost of the municipality to do business.
Right.
You can't use impact fees, right? Because that's gotta be for expansion.
Right.
Expanding the
This is
size of the vehicle.
replacing current vehicles.
I've gone to a four-wheel drive pickup truck. That's an expansion.
And has a cap.
Yeah, you put a cap on it.
See, I was worried about when taking these out of the budget, that it was,
This is
getting
what-
them back in is gonna be murder.
I agree with you.
And that's the
It
issue.
needs to be in the budget.
Yep.
Yep.
We should get back to it.
It's the operating
I don't know if
cost.
three will fly, but
It's the operating costs that we need to consider totally each year. And taking them out of the budget creates this problem.
Which is commonly why you see some municipalities do a capital expense
Why not?
fund just for vehicles.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of communities will hit that fund for all types of vehicles. They sit down, they have a discussion with all the departments who put forward requests, and they take the most,
Desirable.
the really needy
Yeah, the need most.
requests, and they use that fund to purchase the vehicles.
Well, we're gonna have to be ready for this when we get into the budget. Okay, we may have to put a warrant to cover it.
it doesn't matter how you do it, the budget committee won't recommend it, because with a warrant, it's gonna put it over the tax cap
Tax
anyways.
cap, automatically,
They can't.
up at the tax
It's
cap.
it's a no-win situation.
Well, that's true too, I forgot about that part. Yeah. I thought if you put it in as a warrant.
Maybe leave
separate-
one in your budget and put the other two on a warrant and take your chances that way.
Yeah.
I mean, the townspeople are pretty good about supporting fire and police and school.
Yep.
So,
Are we ever gonna revisit that $175,000 tax cap this year? Let's make it, I'm just gonna throw out a number.
we're at 5%
We're at
this year.
5%.
Yeah, we're 5%.
Yeah.
Alright, so what is that
Does got
number?
approved?
251.
Okay, so I was gonna say raise it from 175 to 250.
Yep.
Is then, or maybe 300. I'm just saying, maybe
Yep.
that, couple it with that if that passed,
But-
Bar would,
And I understand, so, you know, last year when I came into budget, I literally came into my first budget meeting, my first day at the budget committee, so that was a little, difficult, but when looking at the numbers, we knew it was going to be way too difficult, almost impossible to work with 175,
Correct.
right? So, and luckily,
We
the
got
town
blessed.
passed the 5%, but it only raised it about $75,000 more which you can look between the ambulance contract, between contractual contracts, and we haven't even, we know health is gonna come in between 7 and 8% increase, and that's not even in here. So imagine what's going to happen. You never would have been able to survive.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
There's no more safety nets. ARPA was the last one.
There are no more safety nets.
Be tough choices
And-
today, this year.
Well, we gotta deal with that.
And as you see things like interest rates rise, as you see people start to hold on to their used vehicles and not go buy new vehicles, and you see decreased in motor vehicle revenue, this is what you're gonna be left with.
So right now, his budget makes sense.
Yeah.
But we gotta deal with the budget committee and caps.
Yep.
So, let's say I agree with what's presented right now, we'll see where it goes from here. You agree, Bob? I think it's the best way of doing it. We're looking at the town itself. Now we're gonna look at the numbers, we're gonna have to renegotiate or work into that next step, hopefully.
I don't know, I think I'm in favor of leaving one of the vehicles in and maybe pulling the other two to a warrant. I just think that's our best chance of getting a vehicle.
Yeah, but we still gotta deal with the tax cap.
Yeah.
Well, let's work on
And
that.
I would say if there's one thing we saw last year at budget committee, that was they really struggled with these overtime costs. So where Mr. French and I are comfortable with the reductions to the overtime, perhaps they're done here so that when they are presented to budget, they've already been adjusted and they're solid numbers. At least we would feel they're solid numbers in the budget committee. You know, we would ask the budget committee not to reduce those any further. That's 41,000. If you take out 2 of the vehicles, depends which 2 you're taking, right, Mr. French? The one truck is a different cost than.
Right.
You gotta figure out what you need more. Do you need the truck or you need a cruiser more? And leave that in.
Question for animal control, who's doing that now?
We have assumed the functions.
You guys have the function now. It wasn't an animal control officer we had. He's now not doing it anymore, right?
No, he retired.
He retired, okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay, thank you. Wasn't sure. Thank you.
So then you really have no vehicle to transport an animal like that. Like, so far you've had friendly dogs that'll be more than happy to jump in the front seat, but then if you get something that's, out of
Not as
control,
friendly.
what do you do with it?
Right. Yeah, there's no way to put a kennel
Yeah.
in the back of the
cruiser,
current
yeah.
patrol vehicles, and frankly, putting a dog or another animal in our cars now is not the safest thing in the world for the animal, the officer, or the civilian that gets in their car next. So, really gotta look
You
at
got
it.
flea control? Well, you may have to wash the seat.
Right.
Oh, boy.
But that's offset by the mileage that you are paying the animal control officer.
Yeah.
The salary that you are paying the animal control
Yeah.
officer has been taken
Put back
out
in.
of the budget, so there has been those.
Give and take, so through it.
And even with the overtime, that may go down, but you're gonna hopefully hire more officers, so how much of an offset is it gonna be? If anything, more patrolmen will cost more
You're
money,
gonna
but
spend money anyways, yeah, either way.
it'll give the current team a break.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So I have police support, if you're ready for that one.
Oh, that's that little blue one right there.
Yes.
Should be fairly, 421050.
Yep.
Should be fairly straightforward, fairly easy. You have, this covers 2 dispatchers. Each of them are identified there with the current rates that they are receiving, as like we did with the full-time officers. We carried the current rate through the entire year. They are both under contract. We included a little bit for the animal control function here. So what we did not have previously in any other budgets was an amount of money set aside for veterinarian services, should that be necessary.
Yep.
You know, if you took an injured animal, can't find the owner, we're kind of on the hook for the costs.
Yep.
And we didn't previously have that budgeted. We added to this, this budget a line of general supplies. That's to deal with things for the kennel. If we're holding one overnight or something, you really got to feed them. Those types of things. Nothing else much has changed. I'm encouraged by the fact that Hillsborough County continues the service contract for dispatch services with no increase. So they've got another year of the same costs.
That is good.
Likely to increase the following year, but right now it's the same. So that particular budget with those general increases is a very small increase.
Yeah.
But that also means that the animal control separate line has gone away now.
It has.
Now, the health insurance is up $10,000. Did somebody change their coverage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Leave it.
Can't argue with it, so it is what it is, right?
You're allowed to do it.
Just so I know how to answer these questions down the road.
Sure.
So 2 notes. We are starting labor negotiations later this week. That'll be a separate warrant article, any changes to the contract. But there is that out there also.
Welcome to reality.
If I remember correctly, the last contract they did was very favorable to the town. They really bent over backwards for us.
It was.
It was at the beginning of COVID. And they delayed their increase, and it just worked really well with us. So thank you to them for that, and good luck.
All set? Anything else?
What's that?
I think they're good budgets, and I'm concerned what the budget committee will do, but
That's
they're good budgets.
Thank you.
I do have
Yeah.
one more question, if that's
Yeah.
all right. We went by the slide quick, I didn't read the whole thing. On the other budget that we
Yep.
went over, did we have that officer, are they still in the military?
Yeah, he's still in
Yes.
Is it
the
on the list that's in the budget?
He
It
is in
came
the
out last
budget.
year, right? He is in the
Oh.
budget?
Yep.
So
Back in
we
the
budget,
have
okay.
put him back in the
Okay.
budget as of September because,
Do back any.
so, and I didn't realize this last year, or I certainly would have brought it up to the budget committee. He had official orders that were given to the town. And those orders state through September of 2024. The town needs to take that into consideration, that you have been given
Mhm.
a date of return. And those are the
Okay.
documents that
Okay,
we should have gone with.
yep. Wish we had known that last year.
I-
So what's the current state of that person? Are they coming back? September, is that what I'm hearing?
Scheduled to come back.
Scheduled
He
to
is
come back.
scheduled.
Scheduled to come
deployed.
back in
Of
September.
next year,
Next
next
September,
September,
2024.
so we have money in here
So
for
we
that person.
budgeted for
Correct.
September through December.
So we have to have that money there.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Sorry about
choice.
the last question.
Military comes first.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything you do.
Sorry to keep you up so late.
That's okay.
Okay.
I think I'm avoiding psychology homework at home, so
Oh.
I'm perfectly fine being here.
I understand the thoughts.
Thank you.
Bye, Mike.
Thanks, chief.
Take care.
Appreciate it. All right.
What's next?
I don't know what I do with my score sheet, so I don't.
So. The animal control we've done, or we've spoken
It's already
about.
done, yeah.
Health, agencies.
Yep.
So if you, it's, at this point, we don't have the insurance increases.
Okay.
There was some additions in advertising, regional. And if so, if we look at that. And we'll have, health agencies, sorry, goes to, right to a warrant.
Yep. Yep.
So that'll be proposed, once the committee meets.
Yep.
So where else would the board?
Might take all of us.
Well, what else do we have? That about does it, right?
I think that's the big budget tonight.
Just revenue estimates and default and.
So there's, the debt, last year, the budget committee moved 25,000 of the principal debt payment to the impact
Yep.
fees for the fire department.
Yep.
The board could look at that again.
Mhm.
That would be another way to
Bring money in.
offset.
Yep.
Basis. And then we wanna look at the revenues, which have changed.
Okay.
So Karen and I went through last week to look at not only the 2024, but the 2023, because we have to give an estimate update to the DRA so that they can take it into consideration when they set the tax rate.
Yep.
And what we saw was that there's no land use change taxes to date.
Mhm.
So we lowered that, estimated. We still left 10 there instead of 35. But we'll see what comes forth. There are some projects that we expect land use for. What we have, one of the issues that raised some concern was the motor vehicles, which I mentioned in the memo to you. And we looked at vehicle registrations 2022 through August and 2023 through the end of August. And what we've seen is this year you've already lost quite a bit of revenue. We believe it is people
Down 20.
registering cars that cost less money, right? So they're keeping their used cars, they're not buying new cars, because the overall revenue has decreased.
So that's
And-
77,000 down?
77, yeah.
Yep.
We weren't sure if it was because of the rate of insurance to
And the
insure a
state
car,
revenue's
but
down.
you're saying you don't have to insure a car in New Hampshire, although most people probably do.
Yeah, it's not required.
We hope they do.
No, I said most probably do.
Most loans require you to have.
Yeah,
insurance.
a loan, if you have a loan. I
So
think.
maybe just people can't afford the insurances,
Yeah.
might be an issue.
But if you don't have a loan on your vehicle and you get in an accident, then you can be required to file SR 22, which is far more expensive.
A lot of this is probably also from COVID, and they were giving cars away at dirt cheap with 0% interest, and then there was no cars, and the interest rates spiked.
Right.
Everything's changing so fast.
So we got a boom, a little bit of a boom from building permits.
Yeah, you get a little bit more this year, but not much.
And we are,
Interest payments.
yeah, we are estimating an increase in building permits.
If you get both projects going good, yeah.
Right, so, I mean, Mr. Blackwell and I went through project by project by project and what we estimate the build. This is, we may have the 2024 actually estimated a little low, but we were conservative.
Yep, that's a good way to be.
I also think we've been conservative in interest.
Yep.
Because the 68 that you see for 2023, which is up from 6
Yep.
in this year, it has already been realized.
Okay.
We don't want to project too far into 2024, so I looked at current trends and the market and what the analysis is for 2024 and lowered it some from the 2023.
This is
People
interest you're
feel
talking
it's,
Yep.
it started to spike and the
Yeah.
feds may come off of it a little.
Not gonna spike much more.
So, overall, we're estimating 2024 at the 2023
Yeah.
revised,
So overall, we're down 29.5.
correct?
Yep.
And in speaking with, Ms. Brand, I think she expected
Mm-hmm.
to see the motor vehicle decrease. It's just commonly something that happens as financial times become constrained.
Yep. Gonna keep going. All right. What else? Anything else you want to cover here tonight?
So currently, it's at 8,291,896.
That's the bottom, okay.
And we are well over the cap.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you'd like, the budget committee did come in, at least the chair and the vice chair, last week. They have indicated that they would like the town to present in a different manner than they've been accustomed to in the past. They are starting with police and fire. And some of the heavy highway sanitation.
You want the higher numbers
Those
first.
will be the presented first. The remainder will be presented the next night, and all they want is changes. They don't want kind of an overall of the departments, or, they just want budget line changes. So we are in the process of putting together, slides for them. They will be submitting requests for information as they need them. And then the third night, at least as it is scheduled now, the third night would be Karen and I going back with any department heads that they request.
Bob, you familiar with that?
No,
Okay,
So,
thank you.
it's the first I'm hearing of it.
I would ask that question.
they would like the budget as soon as possible. I'm not sure really anything is going to change, other than if the board wanted to make any of the changes that we've outlined. I don't think much will change
It's the 28th
now
we
and
start,
then.
28th we start working on it, right, with the budget
Yes.
committee? We-
And they want to start with police and fire and highway, which are the bigger budgets, I understand. Okay,
We promised it a week ahead of time, right?
Yes.
well, since they request, can we go 3 days ahead of time?
We don't have another meeting between now and when it's.
Yeah.
When it goes to them, so, any changes that you'd want to make would need to be done this evening, unless we scheduled another meeting.
Yeah, we may have to schedule another meeting because we don't know about anything yet.
Because we don't have the other numbers.
No, we don't. Well, this is the budget season, guys.
Hmm.
With the corn's ready, and so are the pumpkins. You don't have much time.
When is their meeting? When's the next one? That one you're talking about?
Our next meeting is after we'll have delivered the budget to the budget committee
Okay.
to look at before their first meeting. Our next meeting's the 25th.
Okay, so you're talking about our meeting ourselves. We have one more round to make the changes. All right.
No, we.
No.
We don't have
we
one
do
more round,
not.
so we're gonna have a special.
Because we'd be giving it to them 17th? No, the 21st.
The 21st, by the 21st.
Oh.
They'd like it sooner if they can get it.
Well, of course.
When was our next
That's
meeting?
not gonna happen.
Today is what?
Because we have some work to do.
Yeah. We may have to set up
The
another
11th,
budget
right?
meeting,
Another selectman.
selectmen's meeting,
25th.
to make us changes that we need, or our thoughts together. Okay, Bob?
Yep. And I'd do the same thing as last year, just go back to the department heads and ask them all if there's anything, anywhere that they can squeeze some
Yep.
numbers. Because
So
if
we
they
have a
don't do
tax
it,
cap.
the budget committee will do it, yeah.
You know, they got to deal with the tax cap. So do we.
And a lot of it, it's, when you look at, the summary, obviously the police jump out because they're a huge amount with
Yeah,
the
they're our
cruisers
biggest, yeah.
and the OT. But a lot of it's not that substantial.
Yeah.
No. So,
Fire hydrants, 21,000.
Yep.
They control that.
Yeah, I think fire is 50,000, hydrants at 21, and the police
21.
is 198.
And then technology's 25.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Board of
large,
Selectmen,
but-
accounting went down, but Board of Selectmen went up, so it's really a change of, what,
there's a number change there.
20,000? Not even.
I don't think the numbers are bad, it's just we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
When it comes to the cap.
So I think if you look at the memo that went out, there's a number of changes that are highlighted.
Yep.
Yep.
Those reductions, if we made those, would be $284,833, which would result in a budget 28,000 over the tax cap, plus the ambulance that just came in, so 28 and 18, 40.
Yep.
46. The new proposed budget, that would be 4.23% over the 2023.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
but that's taking those police vehicles out to a warrant, reducing the bond payment 25,000, which we would believe the budget committee's gonna do anyways. The election machines, we think we can count on putting that to 2024 if there are unspent funds, because at this time, they're not even ready to come out, to roll out.
New
So there's definite questions as to whether they will even be available in 2024.
And that's gonna be a big election year.
So,
3 or 4.
yeah, it's difficult. We'll put in the new ambulance cost, bring those on the 25th. You know, there is some discussion, right now, which we're trying to figure out with Health Trust, as far as there's a plan that's ending next year. And that will impact our negotiations. So, there's a few items that are still on the table that need to be ironed out. It's difficult at this time of year.
Questions, comments?
Wait till you see the SIP bill.
I'll go with that one.
Hey,
So we got some thinking to do.
Choices, yeah.
Yep.
Voters do, yeah.
To meet the tax cap, that's all we can do is this, is what I'm seeing, so. I never do like numbers.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, bless.
I'm sorry.
Karen always likes numbers.
It's not pretty.
No?
Would have been a lot worse if we're still dealing with the old tax cap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. At least we gained something out of that last year.
Because, I mean, the majority of these changes,
wants
you
to-
can do nothing
Almost
again
double.
about.
Yeah,
You would have had to cut existing services
which is another issue by doing that.
to be able to accommodate contractual increases.
Yep.
And
Okay.
really don't see any services that the town offers that aren't important to the residents.
Thank you. That's what I was doing this week, staring at this during a rainstorm.
But are we meeting again before
No.
or not? So how are we
We're
gonna
have
adjust
to-
it?
We'll have to figure it out.
When is that
Figure out
gonna
where
happen?
we can find cuts, and then maybe we have to call a special meeting?
Yep, maybe.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. You may have to call a special meeting, so we gotta look where we can find and get ready for the meeting.
Before the 21st.
Yep.
So I would say.
21st would be what, we meet next week.
So, yes, the 21st is a week from Thursday.
Yep.
Yep.
So it would be the 18th.
Yep.
Meet on the 18th, which is that a SIP night? Kim?
Let me just check.
That's the only thing we got left. We come first.
I want to ask a very unpopular question. When I first moved to town, we did not have police coverage at night, and we relied on the state troopers for the Hillsborough County. Until we get our staff built back
Dispatching.
up. Was it just the dispatcher? Or did
Just
we have police?
dispatching.
Okay, I didn't know if we relied on the police.
No, we did
It's
just
the
a
size of
dispatcher.
Rhode Island, and I was wondering how they did that.
Yeah.
All right, so, okay, so that's not gonna make any,
No.
until we built back up. All right.
They, after 11 o'clock at night, Hillsborough takes over the dispatching.
Yeah, 11 to 7
Okay,
nightly.
it wasn't
and
the
then-
police.
Yep.
Police, yeah,
that's it.
11 to 7 nightly, and then 24 hours on the weekends is
Yep.
county sheriff.
That's what it was back then?
Yep.
It still is.
Still
Still is. If you
still
call the
is.
police on after
I
11
don't know.
tonight, you're getting
Are
county
you sure about
sheriff.
that? Because I've had people tell me that we did not have police officers then. And if one of the state troopers had to deal with an accident on the road, you could wait.
There was always police officers. They would leave what they were doing and respond to something, much like the fire department does.
All right, I'll follow that question up. I didn't know if we could save there until we built our staff back up.
This town's
just wanted
too
to let you all
large to
know
have,
it's been a flood
to
warning.
not
I
have
didn't like it back
officers.
then,
Yeah,
because it was the size of Rhode Island. I'm like, how are they getting here?
Yeah,
Yes.
All right, I'll still follow up with that person to
and
make
then
sure.
the, state police are also dealing with the same situation where they're understaffed. And they
Right.
can't keep people and they're working overtime and
Yep.
burning out.
I just want to go on record, my wife
So-
just texted me and tell me we're supposed to get flooding in Litchfield.
Where?
Anywhere.
Oh, it was my mother did the same. She just said, "Be careful driving home."
Well, they dispatched it out.
Hey, does
as an
anyone have a
emergency
boat
message.
I can borrow?
They stick it out as an
What?
emergency management.
Do you have a boat I can borrow?
Kayaks, boats?
All downhill from here.
So next Monday night is ZBA
Here?
here.
Yep.
In this room.
Tuesday's planning board, Wednesday is
Yeah, they're meeting over there.
NRPC, him,
School board.
NRPC,
Two
school
meetings.
Meeting
board.
here or over there?
the 18th, right?
They're here.
18th is
Okay.
Thursday.
Is that over at the fire station? Can we meet there?
That's the meeting where we could ask them
That
to
would
go
be
over
the day
there.
that we'd have to deliver it to them, too.
Oh, you have to deliver on the 18th? Okay. All right, so
Yeah,
we need to
so-
do before the 18th.
It's Monday or Tuesday, and we could meet at the fire station.
Oh, so she's saying we can do 18th and 19th. Okay,
When is the
So
school?
it's due the
when is
21st,
budget?
right?
The 21st?
yes. So-
It has to, yeah, please give Karen and I a day to
Yeah.
go through it.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking the 18th or the 19th?
Mhm.
19th
I
is
don't see
planning
the
board, but
budget.
Is zoning
They're
board gonna
okay.
meet this week, this coming week? Do we have a case?
When is the budget
18th.
meeting, Bob?
Do they have a
What's
case?
that?
When is the budget meeting?
I'm not sure,
28th.
Kevin.
We can find
Okay.
that out, and
We
maybe
want to
they
get
can
them the
get it
budget
over
the
there.
21st.
I could.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I can do that with Jeff, absolutely,
But sometimes they don't have cases, that's what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, 28th.
We're more familiar with this room. Over there, you have to wear special gear and can't wash it.
is it the 18th? Because we're all here. Well, nobody here is in zoning, right?
And if zoning doesn't have a case, they can go over there and just say they're having a meeting done, you know?
Yeah,
Well, we can go over.
I'll check with Jeff in the morning
Yeah.
and see if they have business.
Well, the fire station too, right? Could be
Yeah.
another one. Yeah. All right, so the 18th, I'm putting in the calendar.
Sure.
Back in the old
Don't
days,
know
we
where to
used
meet, just head towards the
Cool.
town hall area. All right, this will be
Feel
for the
free,
Board
we
of
can
Selectmen.
all squeeze right in. Not sure that
Make it a
Oscar's gonna like that
budget-only
too
meeting
much,
so it
but
doesn't
We didn't
last,
have that
There you
at
go.
home.
all right?
I like it.
That's
Still
$2.
Monday, the 18th?
Monday the 18th,
Okay, and we're gonna
18th.
make it a budget-only meeting,
budget only. Yes,
so we can
sir.
get this done, no extra stuff. So people can have their night.
Without us.
Ooh, It's gonna be tough to
Okay.
squeeze this.
And,
Right.
you know, maybe the department
So-
heads can look at it a little bit, too.
Is there an administrator's report?
There is a, um,
What's next?
a very short, administrator's report because most of it I have already
Done.
told you about during the course.
We have already?
So the CERT team, Doug spoke to you about that. We expect to have signups at their open house.
Okay.
We're working through, I was on the phone with, and by email with Primex to make sure that there's no insurance issues. Negotiations, I'll let you know about that.
Mm-hmm.
The NHMA has released their calendar of important dates for town meeting. That's the calendar and all the RSAs that we have to follow for when certain things. I have sent that out to department heads and I have sent that to the budget committee.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And then I told you about the preliminary, report
The water study.
for the water study.
You're just so good at this.
I'll, tomorrow, so I've had a family event that's, that's been going on. Tomorrow is the last day that I expect to be out of the office for any time. I'm taking vacation time. Wednesday, I will be in Concord, for a portion of the day because there's policies that have legislative impacts. And so a lot of town administrators are attending this course that the NHMA have put together about financial policies. And I believe one of them is a fund balance
That was discussed today.
class, so.
Okay.
The
so
administrator
that's-
over there came up and talked to us all about it.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I understand, it's booked solid, so I'm glad that I signed up in real early for it because there's no seats left. And then unfortunately, we do need a non-public this evening.
Okay. All right, Selectmen report. Mr. Weber is not here tonight, so we will not get a rec commission report. Mr. Lynch, school facilities, conservation.
Facility meets during the day. They got one scheduled. I didn't go to the last ones because of doctor's appointments, because of my age. And, I'm gonna try to get to this one this week. If I don't get called into work, we have an outage with my other job.
Okay, conservation, emergency management.
Conservation, I didn't meet I did get to the last one a little late. It was short and it was about this kind of stuff we talked about. And some other stuff, but I can't communicate that.
Last but not least.
Oh, it's me again, emergency management? I have no idea when the next meeting is gonna be. I haven't seen anything yet.
Oh, that's a good thing. Mr. Gannon, Heritage Commission.
We did not meet in September due to a lack of a room, and the meeting was pushed to October 10th.
Me.
I'm gonna give you to the woodshed
I
someday.
have a question on that other report that Kim mentioned, that NHMA town meeting important dates. Is that about, is that the date about voting, like when the annual meeting and all that? The ta-
It is, so that's the
Okay.
calendar that NHMA puts out every year.
Yeah.
You know, the dates that planning board has to have their meetings by in order to,
Get on
You see
the
it
ballots.
before?
and all
Yeah,
that.
I just was
And
questioning if
warrant
it went over to
changes.
the town moderator.
Yep.
That was my question. Did it get forwarded over to the town moderator or the
Did we
assistant
send it to
moderator?
Steve?
yes,
Okay,
and
perfect.
Terry.
And Terry?
That was only my question about that. Planning board, not much going on there. We extended a site plan due to DOT. Economic Development Committee, we met on August 30th. We did review all the detail master plans we all had homework for. Everyone did a great job because we really needed a current state analysis of where we were. When we also reviewed build-out of when our town would build out at our current model. Our homework assignment this week was the SWOT model, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the town, internal and external pressures. So we're going to bring that next time. After that, we will maybe delve into lining up town workshops or, I'd just say in town, it doesn't have to be at the town hall, and surveys, and later on stakeholders will be introduced. We meet next on Wednesday, September 27th, 6:30 PM here at the town hall. Capital Improvement Planning Committee, we met September 7th, not that long ago. We'll be meeting again Wednesday, September 13th. When we met on the 7th, we had the Highway Department, Recreation, School came in. Conservation also chimed in over the phone, like through a message. Well, not over the phone, but we had communication coming in. We were rating the library, so I think we still are waiting for them to come in. Do you agree with that? They did not come that night, right? The library. So I'm not sure if they're coming in at the next meeting, but we'll see what's on the schedule. Because we're trying to wrap up the capital improvement plan budget, right?
Yes, I believe they felt that they presented everything when the trustees came in.
Okay.
A couple of meetings ago.
Okay, because we just didn't see them there, and we didn't know. All right. The goal on September 13th when we meet, which is a couple of days from now, is to wrap up the department head commissioner presentations and start to prepare for deeper prioritization. National Regional Planning Commission will be meeting Wednesday, September 20th, 7 p.m. It's a full commissioner meeting, 30 Temple Street in Nashua, New Hampshire, on the third floor. And the final committee is the Energy Committee. We'll be meeting September 21st, 6 PM here at the Town Hall. And I do believe when we meet, with the potential vendor that we're going to be using, not vendor, but the supplier, has information we're going to look at and maybe try to get out to the public for information. And those are my reports.
Budget Committee meets on the 28th, and we'll try to get them the report for the 21st. It's time to play ball. Let the fun begin.
Time.
Right.
That's why we have you.
Is there anything else that anybody wanted to talk about before we go into non-public? Okay. That being said, that will conclude the public portion of this program. We do have one item in non-public under RSA 91-A semicolon 3, 2, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. And B, the hiring of any person as a public employee. We'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to enter non-public for causes provided. 91A,
Motion for
3,
Mr.
2.
Motion for
second the
Mr.
motion.
And a second for Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, motion carries 4-0-0. We're going into non-public at 8:53 PM.
Shut the switch off.
Everyone at home, be safe and be well.
Karen? This is the best time for you.